Alright, so what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Check in this play Crash Bash Part 5. I'm back. I do apologize for the lapse in videos. My capture card burnt out and I had to get a new one. I had to order a new one online and it took a little while to get here. But I'm back. Again, I do apologize. So, that there wasn't a whole lot I could do. Anyway, so, here we are in the 5th warp room. If you remember, we just defeated Oxide and we unlocked the 5th warp room. And now we have all the trophies. We have pretty much all the trophies. Right now we have all the trophies we can get. So really, we don't have to have trophies to unlock these, like with some of the. What we do need though is relic. Well, the other collectibles, like here, 17 relics for the golds, for splash dash, for drag and drop, 19 crystals, mallet mash. 21 gold relics, swamp fox, 23 crystals, 25 gems for Kaboom, and this one we do need trophies for this last one though, but you have to get all the other trophies to be able to unlock Dante's dash. But you can see here, Splash Dash and Dante's Dash are the last two dash games. Drag and Drop and Mallet Mash are the last two Medieval Mayhem games. I'm sorry, Drag and Drop, Mallet Mash, and Kaboom are the last three Medieval Mayhem games, and Swamp Fox is the last Fox game, or Tank Wars game. And so, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go and clear each warp room out like I did in my previous Let's Plays of Crash 2 and Crash 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe not so much Crash 2, pretty much from Crash 2 onward. I clear out an area, a warp room, or an area in CTR's case, and I can completely clear it out, and then I move to the next one. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing for this. I'm going to go through and I'm going to get all of the relics, gems, crystals, relics, you know, whatever. So for right now, all I have left is just gold relics for this warp room, so that's what I'm going to be doing for right now. But anyway, so for the rules for the Relic Challenge are win 2 rounds in a row against the arena champions to complete the challenge. Now, each arena has 4 unique arena champions. Of course, there will be different characters that will have the arena champion title on different levels. The arena champions for the ball games, all 4 ball games, are Tiny, Koala Kong, Cortex, and Embryo. Now, I think there is an advantage to being one of these characters in the ball games, but I'm not 100% sure, and I haven't really seen if that is true or not. I know for different characters in different events, characters that are arena champions in different levels do have an advantage over their counterparts, and just, you know, strength, endurance, just different things like that. And once I go to those levels, I will definitely point them out and talk about it more. But for the ball games, I'm not 100% sure. There's really no advantage that you can do. If you're good at the ball games, you'll be good with any character. But if you're not very good at the ball games, it doesn't matter who you choose. You'll still have a very hard time beating them. And so, as just like the rule said, we have to beat them 2 times in a row. You cannot win one, lose one, and then win one again. You have to win back-to-back. And that's what makes this so difficult, especially as we go on in the harder levels, like in Warp Room 3, Warp Room 4. The difficulty will increase as well, and so that will make it harder. The difficulty for this would kind of be set on hard, not the hardest, but kind of like the crystal. Of course, you did see that they are kind of letting balls go past, so it's not quite crystal challenge hard, but it's not as easy as a trophy or a gem either. Now, there is another relic that we can get later on in the game, and we will have to do all of these levels over again, and I will point those out as well, but that is the hardest difficulty in the game for the AI characters. And the gold relics definitely are not that hard to do. Again, as we go on in the Warp Room 3, Warp Room 4, the challenges will get harder. is that really in Warframe 2, that's when things will get start to get harder, but for the most part, things will get easy, especially here in Warframe 1. You may still have some trouble, like I said, if you have trouble with the ball games, you'll have trouble with the ball games, you know, even with the easiest one, in my opinion, Crash Balls, Pogo Painters. The Pogo games are a challenge by themselves, you know, even in the trophies or the gems or crystals, but if you add the relic challenges, having to win twice in a row, and the difficulty being raised, and the characters that they choose for the arena champions, it definitely makes it very difficult. And really nothing you can do here. You know, you just have to do it. Play this event like you have all the other events. Don't tick the AI characters off by taunting them. That does not seem to work out all that well, to be honest. It seems to increase. You know, it seems to make them want to try harder and to try and hurt you more and get to you more. So you are gonna try to throw balls at you. So you want to be very careful about that. But that's our first gold relic. We do need quite a lot of them, so we're not it's not too much of a celebration right now. But anytime you can get a relic event on or a gold or the other relic on an event like the ball game, is definitely something to celebrate. Now you can see here, Arena Champion, same thing. The relics will be the same, so I'm not going to worry about the rules. All I'm going to point out is Cortex, Dingo, Coco, and Tiny are the Arena Champions. Now, Coco and Crash are the same as each other, such as strength and speed and charging and all that, charging ability. But Coco is definitely a lot better. It doesn't matter which event she's in. It is very difficult to go up against her. It's almost like going up against a brick wall if you charge her head on. And so that makes it very difficult and actually worthwhile to play as her. But because she's not an arena champion in a lot of other games, and because she is, you know, like Crash, the tank games are not her strong point. So you have to, you know, you say, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to have trouble on the polar games, but for the harder tank games, I'm not going to have nearly as much trouble. And really, the only thing you can do against Coco is just to try to give the weights to her, try to steal lightning bolts from her as much as possible. If she gets small, try to hit her in the side to knock her away. If you try and, you know, just do anything you can to try to knock her off. Dingo's the same way. Rilla Roos not quite as hard as Dingo to knock off. Again, kind of like hitting a brick wall with Dingo. Now this event can actually be pretty difficult because this is the first polar game, so there's not going to be any gimmicks or BS that will sort of help you like in the other polar events. And so this one can actually get actually very difficult and one of the hardest gold relics to get, to be honest. I would definitely say this is the hardest polar. Well, yeah, I guess I would say it is the hardest polar push gold relic to get, just because you have to, especially, it really just depends on the player that you choose. Like, Crash can't really stand up to too many people. He can charge a bunch, but Coco can do that too, and her charge is stronger than Crash's. And so you're kind of at a disadvantage if you leave Coco for last, and you want to not do that. If you choose anybody but Coco or Dingo, you will not have to worry about Tiny appearing. These three characters in the same lineup will be the arena champions that you'll go after, no matter which character you pick. So if you choose Crash, Brio, Kong, Rilla Roos, or Tiny, you will get these three characters as the arena champions for every polar event. And so, you want to always make sure, if you do have this lineup, you want to make sure that you knock Coco and Dingo out first. Coco is the priority, though, because she is the hardest, and she can, more often than not, ruin your chances of winning. Cortex can be difficult, and it's really, you just have to be careful not to let him hit you in the side. You can knock him off very easily, though, especially if he charges at you and misses. But even then, you still want to be careful, because if he does hit you in the side, there's really no way you can save yourself from that, so you want to be very careful. And it also seems that in the Relic events, no matter which character you are, your charging gets weakened, so you can't charge as effectively. And that's just some of the frustrations that can happen with this. You can very easily wind up falling, or getting pushed off to the side, especially if you have Coco or Dingo left. Right now, you want to go ahead and knock out Coco first. If you get to Dingo, you try to knock him out, but if you can't get to Dingo, then don't worry about it. That kind of stuff will happen as well. If your bar is full and someone just kind of nudges you, you can, and this will only happen if your bar is full, but you won't be able to catch yourself. And so you have to be careful continuously charging when you're near the edge. And this is why I always suggest clearing the sides away so that you can have a clear opening to knock the players off. Well, I missed Dingo. Slid around him too far, but yeah, this is definitely one of the, as I said, one of the hardest gold relics to get in the game, and one of the second hardest, or the hardest, it's kind of tied for hardest to get gold relic to get in the game, or the polar pushes. Especially if you pick Crash. Crash is definitely not a very good character to use, just because he's very weak, and because they weaken your ability to push, and they take away your ability to fight the other characters pushing. I mean, even Cortex, if he hits you in the back or the side, can send you off, and that's one of the good things about using Cortex or Brio. But if you're not using Cortex or Brio, it's, you always think, oh, well, that's, if they miss, their bar is full, you can easily knock them off. Well, not in the Relic events. They seems to weaken them enough, or it seems to weaken your charging enough, increases their resistance to your charges, and increases their ability to charge enough that it actually makes Cortex, the AI Cortex now, not the player being Cortex, but the AI Cortex, a lot more useful of a threat against you. Really, there is no point fighting Dingo head-on unless you absolutely have to. You want to try to, even, being big like this it doesn't have its benefits, but that's really the only time when you'd want to attack Coco or Dingo if you are big, or if they're small. You want to be careful if they're small, though, because you cannot, and I have done it before, and I think I've even done it during this playthrough, tried to charge the other characters and ended up overshooting them and then flying off the hole myself. So you want to be very careful about doing that. But anyway, so the arena champions are Crash, Coco, Dingo, and Rilla Roos. So all of these arena champions are evenly matched amongst themselves, but just because this is and I don't know why, but every time you have Rilla Roos in a Pogo event, he seems to do very well for some reason, as well as crash. So if you do have crash in your as an arena champion, and you will always have crash as the arena champion if you do not use crash as the character that you play out throughout the entire game. Dingo will be the only character that gets left out, and so you want to be you really can't be careful. You just have to kind of deal with it. There's not a whole lot you can do. What the AI will do is they will try to go for bigger points. They will shoot you a lot more often. They will shoot at you instead of away from you like they have been doing here. And again, the difficulty is decreased with the gold relic, so it makes it a little bit easier, but not that much, to be honest. It's still very, very hard to get points. They will go after bouncy boots more often as well, and you want to at least pay attention. You can't, if one of the AI characters gets past you in points, there's not a whole lot you can do. You just have to pay attention to their points. You always want to be watching their points, and just to at least monitor it, and to know, and to at least know when you need to try to go after boxes. You always want to go after boxes and try to get big points, but if the AI characters keep getting bouncy boots and you don't, but there's a bunch of boxes around you, you may want to just try to go after small sets of points instead of big points, because that could be just what helps you win. Usually small amounts of points that won't help you out all that often, and going after big points like Rilla Roos is, that helps you out a lot more than going after a bunch of 3s or 4s or 5s or 6s. But in the long run, it could actually pay out while Rilla Roos is bouncing around getting bigger points and having other people step in his points. You can go around and keep collecting points. You can see here, Coco is definitely a problem as well, just as much as Crash. While Crash usually if Crash is an AI character, he usually outdoes her. But if he's not around, she usually will take his place. Dingo really isn't a threat all that much. I've never actually had him beat me too often. It's usually either Coco or Rilla Roos if I'm using Crash, or Crash and Rilla Roos. Crash, Rilla Roos, and Coco. Really, those are the only, as I said, Dingo does get left out if you use any other character other than one of the arena champions for this level. And so you do, it's definitely very, very difficult if you don't use Crash. Especially if you're using Dingo. I don't know why, just Dingo cannot seem to do very well on the Pogo games, even though he is an arena champion. I don't know if it's just has something to do with speed, like his jumping, the way he jumps, or I'm not sure. But compared to Rilla Roos and Dingo, I can, at least personally, I can use Dingo a lot more, or Rilla Roos a lot more efficiently than I can Dingo. But anyway, and what you saw me do early on, I was kind of staying to one side of the arena. That can help, but not too often. You want to try to move around as much as you can, and it really is just luck based on where the speed shoes will, fall. Like for a long section there was no speed shoes, so you really couldn't just go wherever you wanted to. You were kind of, or I was forced to stay in one section. Well, if you have speed shoes, of course you can maneuver around more and get to a wider area, so you really don't have to stay in one section too long. You want to be careful of missiles, so you don't jump in them and mess up some speed shoes if you get any. You want to stay away from people that have missiles, especially like there. You know, if I would have jumped into it, Rilla Roos would have shot me. Of course, Coco wouldn't have got it, but you know, doesn't really matter if Coco gets it or not. And I see in this instance, you want to try to keep Dingo from scoring that many points. Of course, you know, the only thing you can do is just jump in his squares or shoot him a whole bunch. And that is useful sometimes. Not too often. I guess I should have went after that box. Yeah, but I just need a pair of speed shoes, and I can. As long as Rilla Roos doesn't steal my points, I can very easily go after. I can get some points. Again, you know, you want to make sure that you go after arrows as well. The arrows will definitely help you out in the, you know, trying to cover more ground, and will help you get bigger points. Well, I'm glad that was easy, and you think, oh well, you know, you were just doing the first warp room, so that these are supposed to be easy. Well, no, they're not easy. They're actually, because there are no gimmicks or anything that you can use to your advantage. This actually makes it a lot harder. You know, warp room 2 is a lot easier than warp room 1. Warp room 3 is kind of iffy. If you're good at the events there, then they would definitely be easier than warp room 1 because of the gimmicks you can exploit. But I don't really like warp room 1, so it's, you know, it's kind of iffy. But here, the arena champions are Crash, Brio, Dingo, and Kong. And what benefit Crash has over Coco here is that he can actually throw farther and spin farther than Coco can. His running is the same, I believe, as her, as well as jumping. Jumping, I believe, is the same for all characters, so there's really no benefit there. But Dingo throws faster and, well, throws farther than Rilla Roos, and will tail whip farther. The strength of the tail whip and the throwing, however, is the same. It is tied to, with throwing, it's tied to the boxes, but with, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I guess I was gonna say the strength. Yeah, the strength of the throwing does not increase with the arena champions, nor does the spinning or the kicking. But the only thing that changes is just that you can spin farther and throw farther. And Dingo and Rilla Roos are not very good characters to use in these events because they are handicapped because they cannot throw far or spin far. Their tail whip is utterly useless. I mean, there is no benefit to using them at all while going through here, and it is very difficult to use Dingo while trying to get these relics, even on levels like Space Bash. Space Bash is very, very hard, even though it is by far the easiest Bash level. It is by far the hardest. Well, it is still very, very hard with Dingo to use. While not as difficult as Jungle Bash or some of the other Bashes, but it is still very difficult. But anyway, so I hate to do it, especially because I've been gone so long, but I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I don't want to make them too long. I know I've been making the first 4 very long videos, and I would like to quit doing that, so thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many of Rilla Roos points that I step in all of my rounds in Pogo Painter. Thank you for watching. In part 6, we will complete the second warp room, so until then, later everyone.